One swing, one arm, one revolution. The one-armed swordsman didn't just change Hong Kong cinema, it shattered every rule. The lead actor wasn't a martial artist. The director filmed with broken equipment. And the blood, it wasn't red. These are 20 weird facts about one-armed swordsmen. And buried in the chaos, a sword so heavy, the star could barely lift it. Draw your blade. This story cuts deep. Number 1. Before Jimmy Wang Yu became the one-armed swordsman, he wasn't even supposed to be an actor. He was a swimmer, a championship athlete training for international competition. His build was perfect, his discipline unmatched, but his future had nothing to do with film. Then one day in 1963, he walked past a studio lot in Hong Kong. A talent scout spotted him, not because of his face, but because of his shoulders, the way he carried himself. The scout approached and asked if he'd ever considered acting. Wang Yu laughed. He had zero experience, zero training, zero interest. But the scout persisted. They needed someone physical, someone real, someone who could move like a fighter without looking like he was performing. Wang Yu agreed to one screen test, just to get the guy to leave him alone. He showed up unprepared, didn't memorize lines, barely knew where to stand. But when the cameras rolled, something clicked. The director saw it immediately. Raw intensity. No polish, no pretense, just presence. Within weeks, Wang Yu signed a contract with Shaw Brothers. He traded the pool for the soundstage. And 4 years later, he'd be holding a broken sword with one arm, becoming the biggest action star in Asia. The swimmer never looked back. Number 2. Director Chang Che didn't want to make another traditional wuxia film. He was tired of the flying heroes, the wire work, the fantasy elements that dominated Hong Kong martial arts cinema. He wanted something grittier, darker, more brutal. So when he pitched One-Armed Swordsman to Shaw Brothers, he made one thing clear: no flying. The studio pushed back hard. Flying swordsmen were what sold tickets. Audiences expected it. But Chang Che refused to budge. He argued that grounding the action in reality would make the violence hit harder, make the hero's struggle feel earned, make every sword stroke matter. The executives were skeptical, but they gave him a small budget and a tight schedule. If he wanted to gamble on realism, fine. But if it failed, his career at Shaw Brothers was over. Chang Che took the deal. He stripped away the wire rigs, the undercranked cameras, the supernatural elements. When his hero lost an arm, he didn't float away on invisible strings. He bled. He screamed. He learned to fight again from the ground up. The result was shocking. Audiences had never seen martial arts cinema this visceral, this raw. And when the box office numbers came in, they were staggering. One-Armed Swordsman became the first Hong Kong film to gross over 1 million HK dollars. Chang Chi's gamble didn't just pay off, it changed the industry forever. Number 3. The most iconic moment in the film, the arm-cutting scene, almost didn't happen. Not because of censorship or budget, but because Jimmy Wang Yu refused to do it. When he first read the script and saw that his character Fang Kong would lose his right arm in the first act, he threw the pages down. He told Chang Che it was career suicide. How could he be an action star with one arm? How would he get other roles? How would audiences accept him as a hero? The argument went on for days. Wang Yu threatened to walk. Chang Che threatened to recast. Finally, the director sat him down and explained his vision. The loss of the arm wasn't the end of the character, it was the beginning. The film was about adaptation, about overcoming, about becoming stronger through limitation. Wang Yu listened, but he still wasn't convinced. Then Chang Che said something that stuck. Every other actor can play a man with 2 arms, but only you can make audiences believe in a man who loses one and becomes unstoppable. That shifted something. Wang Yu stopped fighting the role and started inhabiting it. He studied how people with limb differences moved, how they compensated, how they adapted their techniques. By the time cameras rolled, he wasn't acting disabled. He was playing empowered, and that performance, that reluctant commitment, became the foundation of his entire career. Number 4. The sword wasn't a prop, it was a problem. Chang Che wanted the broken blade that Fang Kong uses in the film to feel real, heavy, dangerous. So the prop department forged an actual steel sword, then cut it down to create the iconic half-blade weapon. The result weighed nearly 4 pounds. For most actors, that would be manageable. But Jimmy Wang Yu had to wield it with one arm, often extended for hours of filming. His shoulder started giving out after the first week. the pain became unbearable. The studio doctor examined him and found the muscles in his right shoulder were tearing from the strain. They recommended switching to a lighter prop. Chang Che said no. The weight gave the sword presence on camera. You could see the effort in Wang Yu's face, the strain in his movements. That wasn't acting. That was survival. So, instead of changing the weapon, they changed the schedule. They filmed all the sword scenes in short bursts, giving Wang Yu time to rest between takes. Ice packs became a permanent fixture on set. By the time production wrapped, Wang Yu's right shoulder was so developed, it was visibly larger than his left. He'd literally reshaped his body around the weapon. That broken blade didn't just define his character, it rebuilt his physique. And every swing, every strike, every moment of screen violence carried the weight of real physical sacrifice. Number 5. The film's revolutionary fight choreography came from a man who wasn't even credited. Lau Kar-leung was a young martial artist and stunt coordinator working behind the scenes at Shaw Brothers. He'd grown up training in traditional kung fu and had strong opinions about how fights should be filmed. When he saw the early rehearsals for One-Armed Swordsman, he was horrified. The movements were stiff, theatrical, unrealistic. He approached Chang Che with an idea. What if instead of choreographing pretty forms, they choreographed actual combat? Real techniques, real counterattacks, real consequences. Chang Che was intrigued but hesitant. Lau wasn't the official action director. He was just a stuntman. But something in his conviction won the director over. They gave Lau a chance to stage one scene. He designed a fight where Fang Kong, with only his left arm, had to defend against multiple attackers. Instead of flashy moves, Lau focused on economy. Every motion had purpose. Every strike targeted a weakness. The footwork was precise. The sword angles were mathematically calculated. When they filmed it, the crew went silent. It looked brutal, efficient, real. Chang Che immediately gave Lau more scenes. Soon he was redesigning most of the film's action. His work wasn't just innovative, it laid the groundwork for a new style of martial arts cinema. Years later, Lau Kar-leung would become one of the most respected action directors in Hong Kong. But it started here, uncredited, rebuilding fight scenes, one swing at a time. Number 6. The blood in One-Armed Swordsman caused a scandal before anyone even saw it. In 1967, Hong Kong films rarely showed graphic violence. When characters were cut, you might see them fall, but never the wound, never the spray. Chang Che wanted to change that. He ordered the special effects team to create blood squibs, small explosive packs that could simulate arterial spray. The problem was, they'd never done it before. Their first tests were disastrous. The explosions were too powerful, shredding costumes and burning actors. The blood mixture was wrong, too thin, too bright, unrealistic. After weeks of experimentation, they finally got it right. Or so they thought. During the first major fight scene, when Fang Kang's arm is severed, the squib detonated perfectly. Blood erupted across the frame in a violent arc. The crew gasped. It looked horrifyingly real. But when they processed the film, something unexpected happened. The blood wasn't red. It was chocolate brown, almost black. The film stock and lighting had transformed the bright red mixture into something darker, more disturbing. Chang Che saw it and smiled. He told them to keep it. That unintended color made the violence feel older, grittier, like you were watching something ancient and primal. When the film premiered, censors were shocked. They'd never seen violence depicted this graphically. There were discussions about cuts, about ratings, about whether audiences were ready for this level of brutality. But the film was already generating massive buzz. They let it through, and that chocolate brown blood became iconic. Number 7. Jimmy Wang Yu's co-star wasn't an actress, she was a singer. Lisa Chiao Chiao had built her career performing Mandarin pop songs and had never appeared in a martial arts film. When casting began for the role of Xiaoman, the farm girl who saves Fang Kang and becomes his love interest, the studio wanted someone soft, gentle, believable as a simple rural woman. They saw dozens of established actresses. None felt right. Then someone mentioned Lisa Chiao Chiao. She had the look, the voice, the screen presence. But she had one major concern. She couldn't fight. She'd never held a sword, never thrown a punch, never even watched a kung fu movie. Chang Che told her she didn't need to. Her character wasn't a warrior. She was hope, kindness. The reason Fang Kong chooses to live instead of die in that cave. Lisa accepted the role with one condition. She wanted her musical background incorporated somehow. Chang Che agreed and wrote in a scene where Xiao Man sings to Fang Kong while he recovers. It became one of the film's most tender moments. But behind the scenes, Lisa struggled. The schedule was brutal. The action sequences, even though she wasn't fighting, required her to react to violence she could barely watch. She flinched during takes. She turned away from blood effects. The crew grew frustrated. Then one day, something shifted. She stopped seeing the violence as real and started seeing it as choreography, music, rhythm. Once she made that mental switch, everything clicked. Her performance became natural, and the singer who couldn't watch kung fu movies became one of the genre's most beloved romantic leads. Number 8. The cave where Fang Kong learns to fight with one arm wasn't a set. It was a real location on the outskirts of Hong Kong, a limestone formation that had been used in dozens of Shaw Brothers films. But this time, something went wrong. The production team arrived early to prep the space, setting up lights, rigging cables, positioning cameras. Then the rains came. Torrential, unexpected, relentless. Within an hour, the cave started flooding. Water poured in from cracks in the rock, pooling on the floor, rising fast. The crew scrambled to save equipment, but there wasn't time. Thousands of dollars of lights and cables were submerged. The shoot was supposed to start that afternoon. Instead, it was canceled. Chang Che surveyed the damage and made a decision that shocked everyone. They'd film it anyway. Not after the water receded, during the flood. He repositioned cameras on higher ground, adjusted the lighting to use the water's reflection, and told Jimmy Wang Yu to perform the training sequences while standing in ankle-deep water. Wang Yu protested. The stone floor was slippery. He could barely maintain balance with one arm restricted. One wrong step, and he'd crack his skull. But Chang Che insisted. The water made the scene better. It added texture, danger, a sense of isolation. So, they filmed it. Wang Yu trained in the flooded cave. His movements careful, precise. Every step, a calculated risk. And when audiences saw those scenes, they had no idea they were watching an actor one slip away from disaster. The flooding wasn't in the script. It was just another problem that became part of the legend.
这个有用没有？
Number 9. One of the film's most shocking moments wasn't scripted. During a climactic fight scene, Jimmy Wang Yu was supposed to disarm an opponent, grab their sword, and deliver a finishing blow. Simple choreography they'd rehearsed a dozen times. But when the cameras rolled, something went wrong. The stunt performer threw the sword with too much force. Instead of landing in Wang Yu's hand, the blade spun wild, cutting across his forearm. Real blood, real pain. Wang Yu didn't stop. He grabbed the sword mid-spin, adjusted his stance, and finished the sequence exactly as rehearsed. Only after Chang Che yelled, "Cut!" did Wang Yu look down and see the gash running 4 inches along his arm. The crew rushed in with medical supplies. The studio doctor examined the wound and said they needed to stop filming, possibly for days, to let it heal properly. Wang Yu refused. They had a schedule. They had momentum. He told them to bandage it tight and keep shooting. The doctor warned him about infection, about permanent damage. Wang Yu didn't care. For the next week, he filmed with the wound wrapped under his costume, blood occasionally seeping through the cloth. Chang Che noticed but said nothing. He knew pushing an injured actor was dangerous, possibly unethical, but he also knew that pain was fueling Wang Yu's performance. Every wince, every grimace, every moment of visible strain was real, and it made Fang Kong's suffering authentic. When the film premiered, critics praised Wang Yu's commitment. They had no idea how literal that commitment was. Number 10. The film's music almost destroyed it. Shaw Brothers hired composer Wong Fu Ling, a veteran of dozens of martial arts films. His style was traditional, sweeping, full of Chinese instruments and operatic flourishes. But when he watched the rough cut of One-Armed Swordsman, he realized his usual approach wouldn't work. This film was different, darker, more violent. It needed something modern, something that reflected the brutality on screen. So, Wang Fuling did something unprecedented. He incorporated Western instruments, electric guitars, drum kits, synthesizers. He blended them with traditional Chinese strings to create a hybrid sound no one had heard in a kung fu movie. When he presented the score to the Shaw Brothers executives, they were furious. They said it sounded like a rock concert, not a martial arts epic. They demanded he rewrite everything in a traditional style. Wang Fuling refused. He argued with producers, fought with studio heads, threatened to walk. Chang Che supported him, but even the director had doubts. Finally, they agreed to a test screening with both scores. Traditional music in the first half, the hybrid. Score in the second. The audience response was immediate. During the traditional music, they watched politely. During the hybrid score, they leaned forward, gasped, cheered. The modern sound amplified the action, made it feel urgent, contemporary, dangerous. The executives backed down. Wang Fuling's experimental score stayed, and it became so influential that within a year, every major Shaw Brothers production was incorporating Western instruments into their soundtracks. One composer's rebellion changed the sound of an entire genre. Number 11. The Golden Harvest Sword Manual, the book that teaches Fong Kang to fight with one arm, didn't exist until 3 days before filming. Chang Che needed a prop that looked ancient, weathered, believable as a centuries-old martial arts text. The art department scrambled. They found old rice paper, stained it with tea, burned the edges, drew elaborate diagrams of sword techniques. But when Chang Che examined it, he shook his head. It looked fake, too clean, too perfect. So he did something extreme. He took the manual outside, threw it in the dirt, stomped on it, poured water over it, left it in the sun for 2 days. When he brought it back, the pages were warped, stained, barely legible. Perfect. But there was a problem. The actress playing Xiao Man, Lisa Chiao Chiao, had to read from it on camera, and now half the text was unreadable. She improvised her lines, describing techniques she couldn't actually see, making up philosophy that sounded profound but meant nothing. Chang Che loved it. The manual became a symbol of lost knowledge, ancient wisdom barely preserved. Audiences never knew they were watching an actress read blank pages. Number 12. Jimmy Wang Yu's fight training went beyond the film. He became obsessed. Before one-armed swordsman, he knew basic movements, screen fighting, choreographed strikes. But after losing himself in Fong Kong's struggle, he wanted real skill. Between takes, he'd corner Lau Kar Leung and beg for lessons. Real techniques, real applications. Lau was hesitant at first. Teaching an actor genuine martial arts was time-consuming, often pointless. But Wang Yu's intensity won him over. They'd train before dawn, after rap, during lunch breaks. Lau taught him authentic strikes, proper footwork, traditional forms. The other actors noticed. Wang Yu moved differently as filming progressed, more fluid, more dangerous. During one take, he executed a technique so precise it wasn't in the choreography. Lau stopped the scene and asked where he learned it. Wang Yu smiled. "From you, yesterday." The student had absorbed everything. By the film's end, Wang Yu wasn't pretending to be a swordsman anymore. He'd become one, and that transformation showed in every frame. The early scenes show an actor performing. The final battles show a martial artist unleashing. Number 13. The film's villain, Smiling Tiger Feng, was played by Tian Feng, an actor who'd never done action before. He was a dramatic performer, stage-trained, known for emotional depth. Chang Che cast him specifically because he wasn't a martial artist. He wanted the villain to feel intellectual, calculated, not physically imposing. But when rehearsals began, Tian Feng panicked. He couldn't keep up with the fight choreography. His timing was off. His movements looked awkward. The stunt team grew frustrated. Then Lau Kar Leung had an idea. Instead of teaching Tian Feng to fight, they'd choreograph around his limitations, make his character fight dirty, use tricks, weapons, deception. Tian Feng's awkwardness became calculated cowardice. His stiff movements became strategic patience. When he finally faces Fong Kang in the climax, he doesn't fight honorably. He uses every advantage, every dirty trick, every environmental weapon. And it works. The final battle isn't hero versus warrior, it's honor versus cunning. Tian Feng's lack of martial arts training accidentally created one of the most realistic villain portrayals in wuxia cinema. Sometimes weakness is just strength wearing a different mask. Number 14. Midway through production, Chang Che disappeared. No warning, no explanation. One morning, he simply didn't show up to set. The crew waited. Hours passed. The assistant director tried to keep filming, but without Chang Che's vision, everything fell apart. Takes were repeated endlessly. Actors lost confidence. By afternoon, production shut down. Rumors spread. Some said he'd been fired. Others claimed he'd walked out over creative differences. The truth was darker. Chang Che had suffered a breakdown. The pressure, the budget constraints, the studio's constant interference had crushed him. He'd locked himself in his apartment, convinced the film would fail, convinced his career was over. For 3 days, one-armed swordsman sat frozen. Finally, Jimmy Wang Yu went to Chang Che's home. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again. Eventually, the door opened. Chang Che looked destroyed. Wang Yu didn't ask what happened. He just said, "We need you." That was enough. The next morning, Chang Che returned. He never explained his absence. The crew never asked. They just kept filming. And somehow, that fragile moment, that near collapse, made everyone more committed. The film wasn't just a job anymore. It was survival. Number 15. The prison break sequence was filmed in an actual abandoned jail. Shaw Brothers had rented the space for other productions, but it was falling apart. Crumbling walls, rusted bars, structural damage everywhere. Safety inspectors warned against using it. Chang Che ignored them. He wanted authenticity, real decay, real danger. During filming, Jimmy Wang Yu was supposed to kick through a wooden door. Simple stunt. But the door was older than anyone realized. When Wang Yu's foot connected, the entire frame collapsed. Not just the door, the wall, a section of ceiling. Debris rained down. Wang Yu dove backward, barely avoiding being buried. The crew froze. Someone shouted to check if he was hurt. Wang Yu stood up, dusted himself off, and started laughing. The collapse looked incredible. Chang Che agreed. They kept it in the film. That moment of genuine destruction, genuine danger, became one of the sequence's most visceral shots. Later, Wang Yu admitted he'd been terrified. But in that split second, instinct took over. The swimmer's reflexes saved the actor's life, and the camera captured everything. Number 16. One-armed swordsman almost had a different ending. In Chang Che's original script, Fang Kong dies. After defeating his enemies, he succumbs to his wounds, surrounded by the bodies of those who wronged him. Xiao Man finds him too late, tragic, poetic, final. But Shaw Brothers executives hated it. They demanded a happy ending. The hero had to live, had to ride off into the sunset with his love. Chang Chi refused. They argued for weeks. The studio threatened to shut down production. Finally, a compromise was reached. They'd film 2 endings, one where Fang Kong dies, one where he survives. Test audiences would decide. Both versions were shot. In the tragic ending, Jimmy Wang Yu gave everything. His final breath, his last words, the way his body went still. It was haunting. The test screening came. Audiences watched the tragic ending first. Silence filled the theater. Then someone started clapping, then another. Soon the entire room erupted in applause. They loved it. But when the executives saw the numbers, they panicked. The happy ending tested slightly higher with younger viewers. They chose survival over art. Chang Che never forgave them. The tragic ending exists somewhere in Shaw Brothers' archives, never released, never seen again. Number 17. The film's success created an unexpected problem. Within months, Shaw Brothers wanted a sequel, then another, then another. They saw a franchise. Jimmy Wang Yu saw a prison. He'd given everything to Fang Kong, poured his soul into the character's struggle, but the studio demanded more. Return of the one-armed swordsman, the new one-armed swordsman. Sequels that diluted what made the original special. Wang Yu fought back. He refused to appear in some, walked away from others mid-production. The relationship with Shaw Brothers deteriorated. By 1970, Wang Yu was done. He left the studio, left Hong Kong, started making independent films. The sequels continued without him. Different actors, different directors, different souls. None captured the original's magic, because One-Armed Swordsman wasn't a formula. It was lightning in a bottle, a perfect storm of reluctant actor, visionary director, and chaotic production that somehow created art. The studio tried to replicate it for years. They never understood that you can't manufacture accidents, you can't script desperation, and you can't force an actor to lose his arm twice. Number 18. the film's influence reached beyond cinema. In 1968, a Japanese manga artist named Kazuo Koike watched One-Armed Swordsman in a Tokyo theater. He was working on a new series about a wandering samurai. When he saw Jimmy Wang Yu fight with brutal efficiency, adapting his technique to overcome his disability, something clicked. Koike went home and redesigned his entire series. He created Lone Wolf and Cub, one of the most influential samurai manga of all time. Years later, in an interview, Koike admitted the debt. The One-Armed Swordsman showed me that limitations make heroes stronger. That adaptation is more powerful than perfection. The influence spread further. Quentin Tarantino studied the film obsessively while developing Kill Bill. The arm-cutting scene in his film pays direct homage. Directors across Asia adopted Chang Che's grounded approach to action. The chocolate brown blood became a visual signature copied in dozens of films. Even video games borrowed the concept. One-armed warriors became a gaming trope. From manga to Hollywood to digital entertainment, Jimmy Wang Yu's reluctant performance rippled across generations. One film, one arm, one revolution that never stopped spreading. Number 19. During post-production, the editing room caught fire. No one knows how it started. Faulty wiring, cigarette, pure bad luck. But flames consumed 2 editing bays. Inside were reels of One-Armed Swordsman, footage that hadn't been backed up, scenes that existed nowhere else. The fire department arrived fast, but the damage was done. When Chang Che arrived, he walked through the charred remains in silence. The editor, tears streaming, showed him what survived, maybe 70% of the film. Critical scenes were gone, the training montage, half the final battle, entire character moments reduced to ash. Most directors would have given up, reshot everything, delayed the release. Chang Che did something different. He looked at what remained and restructured the entire film around the gaps. He used still frames where footage was lost, jump cuts where scenes were incomplete. He turned absence into style. What could have been a disaster became innovation. The film's unconventional editing, its jarring transitions, its raw energy, born from fire. Audiences thought it was intentional. Critics called it groundbreaking. Only the crew knew the truth. The film's most praised stylistic choice was just survival. Just one more problem that became legend. Number 20. When One-Armed Swordsman premiered on February 16, 1967, nobody expected what happened next. The lines around the theater wrapped 3 blocks. Families, students, workers. Everyone wanted to see the film that was already generating wild rumors. The first showing sold out in minutes. Shaw Brothers added more screenings. Those sold out. They added midnight shows. Those sold out. The phenomenon spread across Hong Kong, then Southeast Asia, then Japan. Box office records shattered. The film played for months in some theaters. And Jimmy Wang Yu, the reluctant swimmer who'd never wanted to act, walked into a screening 3 weeks after premiere. He sat in the back, wearing sunglasses, trying to be invisible. The theater was packed. When his character lost his arm on screen, the audience gasped. When he returned to fight, they cheered. When he defeated his enemies, they erupted. Wang Yu sat there, stunned. He'd spent the entire production doubting himself, fighting the role, convinced it would ruin his career. Now, he watched strangers weep for his character, cheer for his triumph. In that moment, he understood what he'd created wasn't just a movie, it was a movement. He stayed through the credits, and when the lights came up, someone recognized him. Within seconds, the crowd surrounded him. They wanted to touch the One-Armed Swordsman, thank him, tell him what the film meant. Wang Yu, the man who'd almost walked away, finally understood. He hadn't just played a hero, he'd become one. Bonus fact: the broken sword that defined the film still exists. After production wrapped, prop master Lee Kit found it in a storage room. Most props get thrown away, but this one felt different. Lee cleaned it, polished it, mounted it on his wall. For decades, it hung in his Hong Kong apartment, a private reminder of the film that changed everything. He never told anyone he had it. When Lee Kit passed away in 2003, his family found the sword among his belongings. They had no idea what it was, just an old broken blade. They almost threw it out. Then Lee's son, a film student, recognized it. He'd studied One-Armed Swordsman in class, the iconic weapon, the symbol of adaptation. He donated it to the Hong Kong Film Archive. Where it sits today behind glass, tourists walk past it without understanding. But filmmakers stop. They stare. They remember. One broken blade that rewrote cinema history. Still broken, still legendary, still cutting through the noise 50 years later.